The star of today's video is a mid-century modern Mersman coffee table. Off camera, I thoroughly cleaned the piece and began with the repairs using my favorite wood putty, Minwax, and this one's in the tube, and you can get it at Lowe's or Home Depot. After applying, I used my putty knife to smooth all the areas. And I like this putty because it dries pretty quickly, and then I go in with a 220 grit sandpaper until all the areas are nice and smooth. You can see here I'm checking for smoothness. Always feel it. If it feels smooth, then it is smooth and it won't show up in your paint. And then at the end, I remove all that sanding dust with a fairly damp cloth. I like to clean as I go. We're going to be using Heirloom White, a beautiful creamy white color by Rust-Oleum. Now with spray paint, you want to make sure you shake the can well per manufacturer's instructions. First, I start with a primer. I do about 2 coats, and then 3 coats of paint. But be careful. Make sure you follow the manufacturer's instructions so you don't end up with this. What a pain. Just sand it out and start over. Remember, let it dry 2 to 20 minutes before applying your second coat so this doesn't happen. Now here's something else to look out for when dealing with a previously stained piece. After the paint dries, you can see cracks. Just go ahead and fill them, sand them, prime them, and repaint them, and that will take care of it. And finally, perfectly coated pieces. Now, because this coffee table has a Formica top, which was pretty common, I decided to turn it into a bench. So I decided to make good use of this defunct mattress topper that I cut off of my mattress, because the thought of this just sitting in a landfill was just too much for me to bear. After only 2 years, it was pretty lumpy and uncomfortable. And after watching a YouTube video, I found that you could remove it and replace it with something more comfortable. So I did, with natural latex. Now I'll be using the original coffee top table as the base, which worked out perfectly because there was no overhang. And it always leaves potential for somebody to uncover it down the road and bring it back to its original form. And you can see here, I'm just using a Sharpie to outline the top, know exactly where to cut. Now I made good use of an electric meat carver. It slices right through foam. I put a high quality fill on top of the foam and then covered it in this Dacron wrap. Unfortunately, I lost the footage for both. I stapled it and finished the ends with hot glue. And now for the cover. I'm going to be using this very realistic looking faux leather to give it a really unique look. Let's get started. Now, one of the reasons why I chose this for a bench is because this piece is long. It's over 4 feet long, so you can see it's not as easy to cover this piece and would definitely be better with 2 people. But I'm used to working by myself on these projects, so I just take my time and make sure that everything's even. The good news is I don't have a pattern to contend with, but I want to make sure it's even and leave myself enough extra fabric for adjustments. And from my experience, there's always more than just one adjustment. And this project was no exception, but I'm going to spare you from how many times I had to take this apart to get it just smooth and just tight enough. Again, way better with 2 people, but we make do. We just keep doing it until it comes out the way I like it. Now you'll start with 1 staple in the middle and then work your way down, always pulling and smoothing. It's tricky because you want it tight, but you don't want it too tight. And you just keep smoothing, as you can see I'm doing here. And then you secure in the middle and work your way around. And when you get to those corners, make sure you leave yourself plenty of fabric, or else you won't be able to get those corners just right to make the necessary adjustments. Now, instead of leaving the corners like this, I decided to do something different. I had the idea of doing a moccasin stitch. I did a prototype. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Yep, that happens sometimes. I just wasn't going to get the professional look that I was going for. So for me, DIY, I don't want it to look DIY because I'm going to be selling this piece, and even for me, I want it to look really, really nice. That's okay. We're going to go in a different direction, and I found this beautiful linen ikat fabric that, we're going to do this instead. Sometimes they're happy accidents, and I just wanted to show you the paint chips that best represent the color of this fabric because the camera is not. It's really more of an olive green with a watery charcoal. So let's get started. Now I decided to stick with the cover because it did give it a nice stiffness So that was actually good. So I just left the cover on, and you can see I'm going at it, recovering it. This one does have a pattern, so you have to make sure that it's all lined up. So that way, again, when you put it together, you have everything even, gives it a nice professional look. Everything is centered. And that takes a little bit more time, but you can see here, again, I'm cutting away slightly. But I just couldn't give up on the idea of a finished end. So I decided to do some research and found out that, yes, you can hand sew, which I've never done before. So it took a lot of tries, but I finally got the results that I was looking for. I'm going to link the video that I looked at to get the instructions down below if you want to check it out. But I think after doing this, I probably will never not hand sew the corners because it just gives you such a nice professional look. And now you can see here, I'm installing the dust cover to cover up, any imperfections. And again, gives it a nice finished look. So you can see I start within the inside, stapling from the inside, and then I turn it and I just fold the edges to get a nice clean edge. And then I just staple right on top until it's complete. Now it's time to put this back together. Remember, keep all your parts in a little baggie so that way when it's time to reinstall, everything is together. Favorite part of this piece for me was the legs because I just think it was so sculptural. And before I show you the reveal, I just want to thank everybody that's recently subscribed, liked, commented, and shared. I really appreciate you. It's helping my small channel grow. And now for the reveal.
You're like a song that I sing in the morning on a perfect holiday. You're like the warmth of the sun on my skin when clouds look gray. You're like the joy of a trip that's coming to a place with ocean view. You're like an old familiar friend when all is new. Drumming on a first this summer day. You're like the scent of coffee brewing in the morning.
For another amazing furniture rescue, make sure you check out this video right here, and I'll see you over there.